we've always liked adventure. We've always done something new, and always
that's why we're here.
haven't been scared of change, and have embraced change and seen change for ourselves as being something new and something that's vibrant.
When I was 18, I came over for the first time, and I was walking in Oxford Street, and my friend and I were walking, and I had this strange feeling that I knew the place. And I said, you know, there's a house up this road here, and it's painted yellow. So she said, oh, don't be daft. There's no yellow painted house in England. We walked up the road, and there was this yellow painted house. It's the stupidest story I know. But from that day, I had an affinity to England. I don't know why. I promise you. And I love the English countryside. And I love the rivers. And we've been 5 or 6 trips on the canals.
Yes.
I will go and live in the Cotswolds if you give me the money. And I don't know, I've always just then had this affinity. So we would go to Israel and Egypt, but we'd come via England. We'd go to Germany, we'd come via England.
Because Marie worked in the airways, we got a free flight anywhere
in the world.
Every year.
And every year we used to come to England.
Yeah, so
it was my favourite place.
So we had known England before that. That's why she was quite keen on coming to England.
I mean, when you think about it, I had been saying to Paul for years, I want to go to England. My soul and my heart is in England. And he kept on saying, wrong time, wrong time, wrong time. Then he buys me this beautiful house with a lovely English country garden and everything. And I thought, thank you, Lord, for our blessing. And
you own the house, I don't own it.
I know, I own it, but still. But we were sitting there one day enjoying the birds, because I had lots of birds, having coffee outside. And the next minute he says, guess what? I said, what? He said, I've applied to go to London. I said, you're joking.
The eldest daughter came overseas about 10 years ago, and she was a teacher. She's a teacher, in fact, and she got a job over here as a teacher, and they had their first child over here. And so Marie and I came to visit them at the birth of the new child. As we walked past the church and saw that they were having a youth service in the morning on a Sunday, so we went down to this youth service. But I think there was only 3 young people there. They were part of the boys' brigade, I think.
There was a band of boys in the front.
All the rest were the Blue Rinse Brigade, you know, the older people like us there. Anyway, we went into the service. It was about 60 people, but no one welcomed us. When we went into the foyer afterwards, they had tea together. No one came and spoke to us. Finally, I went up to the guy that had read the lesson, and he said that he was a society steward. And I said I was a deacon from South Africa in the Methodist church, and he said, well, we don't have deacons here. I hadn't heard about deacons at the church. On walking home back to my daughter's house, I was very angry with that church. I said to Marie, I'd like to come to a church like this that doesn't seem to care for people, because the Methodist churches normally have an openness to people, but this one didn't. And when we were walking home, I said to her that I'd love to come to a place like this and to build that church up. And that was the sort of start, I think, of me thinking about it. And also to one day, we were coming on the train from Croydon to London, and I got a dry feeling inside of me of a sort of desert feeling, looking at the people sitting next to me on the train with their pan faces like they do on the tubes and the trains. And it was as though God was saying to me that this is a very dry country, and that His Spirit needs to move here. And so when we got home, over a period of a year or two, I started getting the feeling that God wanted us to go where no one knew our names. That was I want you to go where no one knows your name. No one knows your name. And obviously, if we had gone into any other church in South Africa, they would obviously know our names. And
we're so famous, you see.
And so the time came through another set of events that I decided to apply to the British Church. And about
a couple of years later,
it was about 3 months later that they phoned us and they said, that
they want us to
stationed us at King's Cross.
And the biggest laugh is that we had come to London for 30 odd years, and we would come through King's Cross and move out.
We didn't know much about King's Cross, really. We knew that it wasn't.
We knew the station.
And we knew in the past that it wasn't the greatest of areas.
Well, we heard there were a lot of prostitutes and that sort of vagrants and really bad people. And
I think one of the reasons why what they felt that we could handle it here is that, when we were back at home, we dealt a lot with the type of people that are around in King's Cross. It was part of the ministry that we did.
You kind of really did. I didn't do that much.
It was part of that. So
he was into the prostitutes.
So it wasn't really a shock when, in a sense, when we came here.
We arrived here the first night. We had moved in and we had no curtains yet, but we had the bed up. So we thought, we were exhausted. We tried to unpack. We were lying in bed. Now we were used to cows and no lights and silent evenings, because it's like there's no sound outside at our house and it's pitch black. So we come here, we're lying in the bed, the sirens are going, the underground's going boom, 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 boom. If you lie in our bed, you can hear the underground. The next minute, we see the planes coming across. I said, that's it. You've got every mode of transport you want. And there's no silence, it's as light as ever. And these street lights, you don't need lights in your house when these street lights are on, because they're so bright, you know.
They're always on at night, they're on a whole night.
And I said to Paul, what have we done? 1 week later, I just hung these curtains and I just put everything in the house, and we're lying in bed, and at about 4:30 in the morning, and we hear this siren, the siren thing go. I said, Paul, what on earth is that? He said, I think that's the fire alarm. So I said, well, you go and find out and I'll lie in bed. He said, no, I don't think so. So we get up and we go and stand outside there, and it's 5 o'clock in the morning. It's freezing cold in the middle of winter. And the next thing, they open these windows and the smoke billows out. And I said to Paul, oh my goodness, are we insured? He said, no. Fortunately, it was basically the smoke damage in the house. It come from the stairwell up where they'd burnt our church. As you know, our church was completely annihilated. But the amazing thing with that fire is that it burnt the whole of the floor, the ceiling and the windows, but it didn't burn that beautiful wooden cross or the table. It killed all the germs that were in there.
It gave us a nice new chapel as well.
We then could put lovely wooden floors down. And when we first moved in here, the hallway here looked like a building site. It looked like you were going into a warehouse. So of course what we did, we put the wooden floors down after the fire, and we made them paint this building a little bit colourful, not just grey. So, you know, we were very lucky that the fire happened, because it then gave us a new starting point. But the first thing we really did was we started that Alpha course, remember?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And I just remember it was my most embarrassing moment since I came to this beautiful King's Cross, because I decided, and this is what we always did, is we told a joke before we had our Alpha courses. And I picked my funniest joke, and I stood up and I thought, oh, this is great, you know. And I told this joke, and not one person moved. They didn't move their lips, their eyes, nothing. And they all sit and they go. We split up into groups, and the younger people, I took the younger people, and Paul took the older people, which we always did. And I'm sitting, I'm saying, I told a joke, and none of you laughed. Why? Don't laugh in church.
I remember Marie saying to me, I'm not telling another joke now.
Ever.
Never telling
another joke.
Well, I thought it was funny.
Yeah, no one laughed.
But the trouble is that I could see people with a sort of kind of trying to keep their faces still.
But I remember as well as that, you know, when I had a vision of this area being an oasis around the desert of King's Cross, and mentioned it in 2 of the services that I preached on the Chinese side, and then invited people to come over and join us in starting something new. But we had 7 people come over. And I remember at our first sort of leadership meeting, I said, Jesus had 12 disciples. Here we've got 7 of you and 1 South African. And we're going to do something here. That was very exciting for us to have, you can't do something on your own. And once again, it's all about community coming together and doing something and sharing a vision and then going forward.
Yeah, I remember the vision being living water flowing out to the local areas and local communities, right. And I remember that was what really caught me, because we as a Chinese church at the time didn't really reach out to the rest of King's Cross at all. It was like, no, we're not getting out there. We may be travelling to church, but we're not getting out there. But then you casted this vision and shared it with us.
When I asked the Chinese if, for the November of the shelter, that we would only have us King's Cross being the volunteers, and it was, I think we had 22 people from the Chinese side come and volunteer for those shelters. It was like another area that was opened up a little bit, and I think that precipitated the Wednesday chicken chow mein, I think, came out of some of that.
You know that the amazing thing that we have learned from being here is going on those summer camps with the Chinese community. I just was so amazed at the commitment of the Chinese people and the children that were so well mannered. I'm serious. I just, children in South Africa would never have joined in games the way the children did there and sit and listen to us, talking. In South Africa, they would be running around and doing all sorts of crazy things. And here, these kids were just sitting there at all ages, putting up with whatever rubbish we were giving them and behaving themselves. And the first time I met, I think it was Joyce, and I gave her a hug because she was just so huggable, Joyce, and I could feel her like stiffening up a little bit, not sure how to cope with this mad woman who's just put her arms around her. And slowly, I don't know, it's not kind of a thing you do, I think, in the Chinese culture. I don't know.
Do you hug a
lot in the Chinese culture? No. And of course, the kids must have seen me coming and think, oh no, here comes that hugger again. You guys have made it for us, because Paul wouldn't have survived without his band.
I remember arriving here, and as you know, there was no English people at all, really. And I thought to myself, now how am I going to make contact with these Chinese people who are here?
How did you cope with that?
And I thought to myself, well, the best way I can do it is to go through the music. I came over a couple of months just to Superintendent Sue asked if I'd come over and meet the stewards like they normally do. And so I'd come, and then when I was here looking over the church, I think there were some students playing on the drums and playing guitars. I thought, oh, this is fantastic. At least they've got worship here. And that was the thing that I managed to get slowly into mixing with you folk. And then I joined in with some of the music and started playing music with some of you.
And we have really, really enjoyed our time here. We've had a fabulous time.
We really enjoyed the students as well.
The generosity of spirit, I think, is what for us has been amazing, because to be accepted into a community that really don't even know you, and to behave in the way that the Chinese people have, and the kindness and the acceptance of us has been amazing. It's really has made us feel so at home and wanted, and we've never really ever felt that we didn't belong, which might sound crazy, but it's important to us, and we feel blessed.
Feel blessed. Because we have been here.
We're really outspoken and sort of crazy, and
I don't know how crazy we are.
We are crazy.
Are we crazy?
Yes.
I know we are.